All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Please note that everyone is present, even the one walking in late right now. 6:30. It's 6:31. Now, if everyone will stand, please, for the prayer by Alderman McKee, please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, Lord, we love you so much. Thank you for your son, Jesus. Thank you for loving this town and just protecting it as much as you have. And Lord, just want to lift up as we do every month, but Lord, we mean it as much this month as any. As Lord, we lift up our staff and firemen and everybody that's works for our town that sacrifices far more than anybody than any of us realize. Lord, we just thank you for them and grateful for them, but also we just ask for your protection, especially as busy season is really getting to be becoming on us, and they're just going to be busier than normal. And we just ask you to cover them and protect them, Lord. Just ask you to provide wisdom to each one of the members of the board tonight, Lord. We're doing the best thing that we feel like we can for the town, and providing protection and safety for our citizens, Lord. We just lift up your name, Lord. We just ask your blessings over our town and our country, Lord. Just pray for our servicemen around the world right now that are seeing conflict, and Lord, just protect them and give our national leaders wisdom as moving forward, Lord. We just lift you up and just ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Chief Ross, will you lead us in the pledge?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do the roll call like I'm supposed to on this new system, so. Present. Okay. Yeah, it's only the second meeting we use this. So
Did I hit it?
we're waiting for 3. Hit present. All right. Shows all 7 present now. We'll get the hang of this. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 2nd, 2026 meeting?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Brooks, second. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Nay, or opposed, say nay. You just push it. I'm sorry. Yes, just everybody vote on your screen. Gosh. Yay. All right. All 7, that item passes unanimously. Next up, we got grievances and comments from citizens. Just for note, we do have 2 public hearings tonight. So just want to, if you're here to speak on those particular public hearings, we ask you to wait and talk on those particular items then. But during the grievances and comments from citizens, this is where you can come talk about any particular topic, whether it is on the agenda tonight or not. We won't necessarily answer your questions tonight, but staff will take your name and information and get back with you if you need that. Your information may be covered during the meeting, but if it's on here, but it's not necessarily a back and forth. So is anyone here to speak? Do we have any cards, or is anyone here to speak on any particular topic right now that's not directly involved with the public hearings? Okay, seeing none. Communication from the mayor. Sheriff's Department report is on file, so I'll turn this over to which chief? Chief Harwell. Last month you passed it off to Chief Laughlin, so.
Times received it 8 times. We had 19 calls south of Interstate 40 and 16 calls on Interstate 40. Truck 71 did a phenomenal stop on a possible structure fire off Polk. They had a playground set in an outbuilding and a small doghouse on fire that was actually catching the house. And it came in just as a grass fire. So the truck came in, laid lines quickly, was able to put a portion of the house out and then the remaining items. So my hat's off to the truck for a great response to that. Several activities were listed. It's listed there. I'm not going to read them all, but I would like to highlight. We involved TFACA over the years, and we had them in on 4 different occasions this year, or four different classes this year. We had a smoke reading class, a swift water class, a lithium ion battery class, and a hazmat class. It is always good to have outside instructors to come in. We've been blessed with you guys, as well as Mrs. Owens and Mrs. Durant, for allowing us a training budget that approves that. And so it was fortunate to have them come in there and teach those much needed classes. That completes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments for Chief? Thank you. Okay, so next up, we do have the audit report from Alexander Thompson Arnold. I was, yeah, hey, there you are. Whoops, my chair leaned back.
Board. My name is Matt Wood. I'm a partner with ATA. Thankful to have the opportunity to come discuss the audit report with you, and I'll just go over highlights and then hopefully answer any questions that you might have. First, it is an unmodified opinion. That's just the new wording for a clean audit opinion. It means that the financial statements as we see it are free of any material misstatement or any evidence of fraud. We had no internal control issues to report in the current year, which I know is what most people care about. So thanks to the entire team here for working with our squad. We also had to perform a single audit this year. That just means that you had more than $750,000 in federal grant expenditures in the current year. We had to test the ARPA money. It's still winding its way out. And all of that came back clean as well. That would be the second letter in the back of the report. This year you had 1.41 million in federal awards. As I said, ARPA made up 772,000 of that. In the current year, you've got $7.7 million of long-term debt remaining, and we made $984,000 in principal payments in the current year. A few things always to note about your financial statements is that Arlington schools are included in your financial statements. We do not audit them, but they are included. It's called a blended component unit, and it's a fund of the city. So you see that throughout the financial statements as well. Specific to the town, we've got 2 pension plans. One of them is the normal TCRS pension plan that's been in existence for some time. This year that had a pension asset of $792,000. So that's good. Obviously, been a little bit of a seesaw, not related to y'all, but related to the investments at the state since 2019. So 792,000 pension asset there. And we have started, I think you've got about 61 participants on it. There's a new alternate plan that also has a pension asset of $760,000 in the current year. Few other items. You were $294,000 under budgeted expenditures in the general fund. I can say that's good and say it in the same way, in that it's good to budget that closely so you actually have some idea of what is going on at the municipality. We have some that throw a budget out there that's $15 million under budget from year to year, and it's not reality. They throw every grant in the world on the financial statements. The general fund did lose $930,000 net income wise this year, but that's not an issue obviously there. And I just wanted to point out some of the sewer fund. The sewer fund net income was 2.41 million this year. That had a positive cash flow of 2.18 million. Most of that is related to capital contributions. Actually matches up almost exactly the net income. And we did spend over $2.5 million on construction of capital assets related to the sewer fund. That usually matches up with your capital contributions. The only other numbers we point out, general fund balance, 22.43 million this year. As stated a moment ago, y'all budget very accurately is how I'd answer that. So your budget expenditures was 16.5 million. That I only point those 2 numbers out because that leaves you in a great place from year to year when your fund balance is that positive related to the budget expenditures. It creates an avenue to where when budget time comes around, isn't as stressful maybe as it has to be. We've got some that number can be 20% of your budget expenditures, and it starts you in a tight place. I know it's a lot of numbers real quick, but happy to answer any questions any of you would have.
Thank you for that information. And so you're saying, when you said that's a good, when that number was close and it's good, explain that just a little more.
Yeah,
Just so everybody
absolutely.
understands.
So obviously with grant projects, they span over 5 years' time, something like that. And so we have municipalities that will budget the same grant for 5 consecutive years, no matter if that activity is going to happen in that year or not. And so we'll get to the end of the period, and while they are under budget, they're under budget by $20 million kind of thing. And the budget period, meaning creating the budget, creates a lot of stress because they're discussing projects that are still 3 and 4 years down the road. So, based on amendments that is done by the accounting team as well. Obviously, there's amendments done throughout any municipality's year. Being that accurate shows that they're on top of what the expenditures are going to be, is how I'd answer that. Because, whatever I said, 200 and some odd thousand, that close, shows that during the month of June, they're aware of what's going on. We have it obviously both ways. I've got plenty that are way over budget because they don't count for the month of June, basically. So, yeah, I just think that's the point related to it. You can throw $10 million more on the budget and make sure you're always under budget, but it also makes some of the categories unaware of what's actually happening in the current year. That's right.
Questions, comments?
The only question I got.
Speak.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That the only reason I give the general fund percentage number is it matters where you are in the state of Tennessee. It matters how close you are to a major metropolitan area. Towns like yours that are close to one, the Dixons, the Bellevue, the circle of Nashville that doesn't have to be Metro Nashville. You've got a lot of responsibilities being that close, but also you are a community that people want to live in and want to, raise their families in. It provides you opportunities related to that, and your percentage will be higher than obviously if I go 30 miles down the road and it's a smaller municipality. It's just, that's part of the financial process. So I say it's healthy because all I can do is compare you to your budget expenditures and your plan for next year. So.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, good job. Thank you for your report. And again, we appreciate Brittany and her staff
Absolutely.
for keeping us on top of things year to year. So we're always proud to hear good reports from the auditors.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming down. Thank you. Mrs. Durant, does the fire department, do they need anything here still, or if you want? Huh? Oh, is that on the consent agenda? That's on the consent agenda though, right? Yeah, okay, I didn't know. Okay. Next up, just a few items to mention. Mrs. Howe, would you like to mention any chamber events coming up?
th and running until April 23rd is Taste Around Arlington. You might have seen the advertisements in Shop Local Magazine and on Facebook. So that's the time to encourage everybody in town to go support all of our restaurants, save their receipts, turn those into the chamber on April 24th. We've got big cash prizes. 500 is the top cash prize. And just so you'll know, in case people ask you, this supports the restaurants, but all the gift cards that we buy that make up the prizes, the $500 gift prize is an accumulation of gift cards. All of those gift cards are bought in Arlington. So we're trying to help the restaurants and we're trying to help the retailers. And so anyway, talk that up and encourage people to participate. It has grown every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Howe. Just a few notes from me. I think I know I've told the board, but just to kind of reiterate, it's been a busy month, with legislative issues, meetings and meetings and meetings. We had a mayor's day on the Hill for a couple of days, 2 weeks ago. We got a lot of legislation done there, at least met with a lot of legislators. I don't know how much we're waiting to see how some of those bills still come through, but it was good. And I think we're going to probably try to incorporate that moving forward, a little bit before TML to have those more one-on-one, which gets me to TML, which, Vice Mayor McKee, Oscar Brooks, Jeff McKee, we were all up there, just yesterday and today, or some up Sunday through today. And, TML is a good asset. It's, that we have as a tool for us in Nashville. I will say it used to be more where we were meeting with legislators. Now it's more kind of like seminar type, to where depends on who the speakers are. Like the comptroller usually speaks. I think Secretary of Treasury Lillard was speaking this morning, along with some other folks about TCRS. So it's a lot of things that we cover, and they try to keep the topics to what impact us. But there was also some governor's candidates and all that. So it's good networking also. I mean, and it's one of those things where I walk away from it every year. I think when I first started going up there, I felt like we were in that growth stage so much that we were trying to compete and keep up. And now it's amazing how many people come up and ask or hear all the good things that are going on in Arlington, want to know how we do it. So I was telling Oscar on the drive back, I said, I did a lot more sitting and listening this time than talking. So, and I kind of enjoyed that more. So it was a good way to just kind of camaraderie amongst, whether it's neighbors here in the Shelby County or the region or even across the state. So it was a good trip and, quick trip. And just, it seems like we've met with whether it's Congressman Kustoff, governor candidates or whatever, it's just been a busy month. So I'm hoping this month of March will be a little slower. But it's election season, so that's the way things go. Everybody wants to talk with you during election season. Any announcements from the board or anything from staff any announcements that we need to make for this month? Okay. Any committee reports to report? All right, seeing no, we have a consent agenda with items A, B, and C. Before we get a motion on there, does anybody want to pull anything off before we get a motion on there? All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Harmon, second by Mr. Biggs. Everybody vote. That item passes. I was remembering when we were in Nashville 2 weeks ago, after every time they voted, they did that, so you all would know. And I was looking at this going, do I ever need to use that for that? Because that way people know that item's over. I don't know. But they do that because they vote electronically, and that's the way they let their staff know. So Just use your mark. This is new. All right, so the consent agenda is passed. On to old business. This is going to be second and final reading of ordinance 2026-01 to amend Title 8, Chapter 2 of the Town of Arlington Municipal Code relative to the sale of beer within town limits. You're going to take it, Mrs. Owens.
I remember to turn on the microphone.
And we do have a public hearing on
Don't
this.
know if you can see my face, sorry. Okay. So this is the second and final reading for the changes to municipal code regarding the sale of beer. There has been a change between first and second reading, and that only change is that instead of proposing the $250 for the privilege tax, we're going to keep it at $100. Staff is available for any questions, and we recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Vice Mayor McKee. We do have a public hearing, so do I have a motion to suspend the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting and open the public hearing? Motion by Mr. Harmon, second by Mr. Barker. We are now on the public hearing, and this is the public hearing for second and final reading of ordinance 2026-01 to amend Title 8, Chapter 2 of the Town of Arlington Municipal Code relative to sale of beer within town limits. This was advertised in the Daily News on February 6, 2026. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this particular request, please stand to be recognized and state your name and address for the record. Again, this is just for the beer issue. Is anyone here for this particular item? Seeing none, I have a motion to close the public hearing, resume the meeting, second by Mr. Biggs. All right, we are back on main motion. Discussion or questions on this item? Mr. Biggs, I think Mr. Biggs has something.
No, I just want to say I appreciate you guys moving that down to, back to $100. So and I appreciate you guys going along with that as well. That's the only thing I had.
Any other discussion or questions on this particular item? Seeing none, I was about to say, all right, let's go to your voting screen. It's gonna take me a while to get used to it. We're missing one more. Somebody. That item passes. All right.
We're gonna get used to it.
All right, we'll get used to it. All right, second and final read, they were on item B. Second and final reading of ordinance 2026-02 to amend Title 8, Chapter 1 of the Town of Arlington Municipal Code relative to the sale of liquor within the town limits. We do have a public hearing on this, and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Owens again.
Yes, sir. So this is the second and final reading. There has been one change between first and second reading, and that was the use of words detached dwelling unit, which was a big topic of conversation during the first meeting. So we've made that change. Staff recommends approval, and we're available for any questions.
You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Owens. I have a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Biggs, second by Mr. Harmon. All right, we're on the main motion, but we do have a public hearing, so we have a motion to suspend and open the public hearing. We got a motion by Vice Mayor McKee, second by Mr. Biggs. We are now on the public hearing for the final reading of ordinance 2026-02 to amend Title 8, Chapter 1 of the Town of Arlington Municipal Code relative to the sale of liquor within town limits. This was published in the Daily News on February 6, 2026. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this particular request, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Is anyone here? Yes, sir. We have one coming up right now.
I had notes, but I think I'm going to read them. My name is Patrick Dorian. Address is 11992 Hayes Crest Circle North, of course, Arlington. I represent Old Town Wine and Liquors, LLC. And first of all, I want to thank you for your leadership, Mr. Mayor and the board, for growing Arlington in a methodical approach, especially visiting as it is, pertains to retail development. There's a couple of things that I understand that we're trying to look at growing the permit issued for another liquor store. And there's some things that I'd like the board to consider once we do, if y'all approve it. I'd like to ask the board to consider a lottery approach for the awarding for the other permit for the sake of transparency. I'd also like that the board to consider restrictions on that additional permit to include, but not limited to, no check cashing. It just seems to me that the demographics that come in and cash checks, then they turn around and buy liquor. I don't think that's something that the city wants to promote. Also, the vape products, I think there's a different venue for that, and I don't think a new liquor store or a new permit would suffice for that. I think that's a different topic. And finally, for the wording, I think I guess for lack of a better term, putting thresholds for completion of once the permit is awarded to these folks, whoever it may be, hopefully myself, that they put a 90-day to finalize the purchase of the property. I understand the standalone. I certainly approach it. I think it's a great approach. But putting thresholds in there so that if somebody gets a permit, they don't sit on it. You understand? And so I think putting thresholds before this board would be a good idea. I think within 1 year and 90 days, standalone building should be 90 days from opening. I think that's another approach because you don't want a vacant building just slowly being built. It doesn't work cosmetically. My group that I represent is looking at the Providence development. It's where we'd like to pursue a new liquor store. And lastly, I just asked the board, what kind of communication will we have to know that the process has been approved and what type of selection is going to be and what the requirements are for it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that's also to speak on this particular topic? All right, seeing none, I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing and resume the meeting. Motion by Vice Mayor McKee, second by Mr. Barker. Back on the main motion, discussion, questions. Mr. McKee, are you? How come you always point to Jeremy first? It doesn't always, we don't always, we're.
Um, so I got a couple of things. One, I would like for us to discuss I brought this up last month, but the 1,500 feet between this liquor store and the existing liquor store. I personally would like to see that extended because I don't think it would be good for Highway 70 to have two liquor stores. That's on the very edge of town. And to me, it just, if we have the ability to kind of control that a little bit, then I think we should take advantage of that. And the other thing was that I did not bring up last month, and I actually spoke to this gentleman in between those. He contacted me and I spoke to him, and I wanted to ask Joe, like, I think eliminating the check cashing is actually, a very smart thing to do if we're going to be able to do that. And I wanted to ask your opinion, like, from a legal standpoint, could we do that and say that it has to be a liquor store only? It can't be liquor store slash check cashing slash vape store slash whatever.
Real quick, I know we've been asking about that particular thing. Is that covered under the conditional use or is that?
So that's an important thing to remember is this use, and we are putting some conditional uses so that this is a conditional use permit. So anybody coming in, they're not allowed by right to put one in either B2 or SC. Is that correct, Jeremy? That's a conditional use. So any application, even if approved through and have the license, still has to come back, has to have a site plan, and they have to go through the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Commission. So additional conditions can be allowed and imposed there if they're reasonably restricted. We did look at, and tonight there is a vape store moratorium so that we can study. We went back and looked. The state is dealing with and has enacted through the ABC Commission the Delta 9 and another synthetic cannabis products that have to be regulated through the ABC, and they've put regulations in place. That's not all vapes because a lot of vapes are just nicotine or otherwise. But what is in front of you tonight is a moratorium for any new vape store, but it also includes so that we can incorporate what this new law is dealing with the state and where it'd be appropriate to have those. Having them in multiple, because you got almost every gas station sells some, Kroger, so having limiting what you're selling, and there is some legislation about what they can sell in other what other products a packaged liquor store can sell, dealing with certain types of beer, certain types of other drinks, setups, accessories. There was no prohibition as to having a separate one, check cashing in particular, which is now there's people call check cashing. For clarification, there's payday advance loans, and then there's check cashing where there's a reimbursement for a fee. So they're kind of used interchangeably type terms. There's payday advance loan laws that have a separate effect, but I think what we're talking about for check cashing specifically is somebody brings a check and gets for a fee cash back on the check. Just for clarification, honestly, I could not find anything where I thought that we could legally probably limit that separate business out of this. That's, I feel like we're probably on a little bit on thin ice if we're trying to do that and keep those separate. I wanted to try to reach out to MTS, didn't get anything from them about whether we could probably do that. It's something we can look further in, but I would recommend we still probably go forward. There's a lot of changes in here that's gone through, and if that is one other type thing that we can incorporate or change in, but I'm a little concerned about limiting the types of businesses that you're putting in without some reasonable regulation of why that business is, a violation of the health, safety and welfare of the citizens.
So,
Now the vape, we have a study that's incorporated into the moratorium and about there's obviously health issues and with the change in law. So I think, we're looking into that.
so somebody could, build a liquor store and they could have any business. I mean, like, what are the limits, I guess? I mean,
I don't have the statute in front of me. It goes through and sells and says a lot of the things that they can sell and that they can't sell, they are prohibited. None of the discussion was anything dealing with the check cashing on that. So it was more related to the sale and the use of alcohol. It's more of the products related, so.
okay. Yeah, so the only other thing,
Jeremy,
well, one other thing, so on the conditional use, could that be a conditional use when they come for?
That probably could. It's generally more about the overall effect of the location of that site is why this site, maybe the lighting needs to be changed or the signage needs to be different or the certain things relative to the specific site and how that might have a different effect than another location. But
I could see where we would all be pretty upset if, a liquor store goes into whatever development. And as part of their signage, it says check cashing, right?
Well, I don't think that would be allowed because that would be a separate type business and we only allow, our signage is pretty restrictive and we have put additional signage restrictions proposed in the CUPD so that no signage can be seen visible from the right of way and no separate lighting emanating from the interior can be seen from the right of way. So we've got conditions like that would be imposed.
So like their ground sign couldn't say, Arlington Liquor / we have,
I suppose if that was the name of the business, the
Yeah.
legal business name, I guess it could be.
or if they, it was a multi-tenant type of sign, then,
Yeah.
if it was a separate business and it was a
No, we're
multi-tenant
not
sign.
allowing multi-tenant. This is a
Yeah.
single tenant type use, so it would have to be incorporated into the existing type business. It wouldn't be allowed as a separate business on the same premises because we're not allowing multi-tenants. It just have to be, the package store has to be a standalone in and of itself.
okay, so maybe like between now and then, we could just verify before somebody comes to us with the conditional use, how far we could.
Well, we can look into that a little more, whether we could modify that for conditional use or incorporate something in there, but yeah.
Okay. Mr. Biggs, let me go to somebody else and I'll come back to you if you still have something else. I mean, I'm with you. I understand. I've asked that same question. I think some of our other meetings and it's one of those things that we can, what if this, I've said that several times. We can sit here and keep overthinking this and I wish we could. You said something about control earlier. I've been all about control. I've been like, let's control it. And I wasn't a fan of the lottery, but I'm not going to fight the lottery because that's just, I'm ready to get this thing off our shoulders, but I don't want to, I want to get to the point tonight where we at least get this off our chest and get it moving forward. So I think, Mr. McKee, did you have something?
Yeah, you were saying that they did show things that you could have, and I looked up the things that you can have, and it's like cigarettes and things like that, but it didn't say anything about check cashing at all. Not one thing on that. And just on my part, if this was just adding a new liquor store to the town of Arlington, I probably would not be for it because our ordinance says now, as it is written now, that we're about to be able to add one anyway, because we're at the 16,000 level of people here. So just for it's on the record that we're not really changing our ordinance to add another one. We're really tightening up our ordinance and what we have in place. That's all
And for
mine.
reference for that, in case those who weren't in Nashville, I know we've talked about it, but there is that bill, or there is the bill that was passed last year that will give census numbers annually from the state. So yes, supposed to be. And I know there's another caption bill to try to slow it down for another year or two, but we can't, again, we can what if this whole thing, but if they throw something at us in May or June, then
You
we
never
would be
know.
stuck without anything.
Thank
you. Jeff?
Was there anything added about distance from public buildings, public meeting spaces, things like that.
Now, Alderman McKee had a question. I think several of you had different questions, and so I had discussed with him. It's section 18109 separation. So currently, the modification that was made was no certificate of compliance should be issued for retail alcohol sales on the premises located within 500 feet of a public library. What changed was a detached dwelling unit, except if the dwelling unit is located within a mixed-use development. A structure used as a church or other religious institution, a school, college, or public park. The question, I believe you had is changing and expanding the definition of the public buildings. And so we had, I believe the language would propose could have been, a fire station, a police station, and that was one more, I'm sorry.
Town hall.
No, it was not a town. It was, we were trying to keep it to a specific building, post office. Post office.
So those are included in that verbiage?
They're not, because it was not come through. So if you wanted to add that, that would be an amendment to this. And but we would add it into this section if that was for a clarification. So.
And that would be 500 foot from
Yeah.
those locations?
Yeah, it would be the same way we measure right now. Again, Alderman Biggs' proposal was to modify from 1,500 feet to 2,500 feet. So if he wanted to make a proposal, that would be also changing the same section from 1,500 feet to 2,500 feet. So there'd need to be a motion and a second for that, and a motion and a second to add in there, because it doesn't say public place or public gathering, would be to add police station, fire station, and post office.
I would like to make a motion to add those buildings, a fire station, police station / sheriff station, and post office to that. And then I'll leave the footage for another amendment, but I'd like to add that for an amendment.
So I have a motion from Alderman McKee. I need a second on that to have discussion on that amendment. Second by Mr. Biggs. So we are on now the amendment to add the language. Let's get staff or somebody to say again, so everybody knows what we're talking about.
Development. Sorry, I turned off my microphone. I'll start again. No certificate of compliance shall be issued for retail alcohol sales on a premises located within 500 feet of a public library, a detached dwelling unit, except if the dwelling unit is located within a mixed-use development, a structure used as a church, or other religious institution, a school, college, and here we would insert a fire station, police / sheriff's station, and post office. And then public park is at the end already there.
I guess my question, I understand again, the concept of, legally, do you feel comfortable with that? I guess as far as, I don't want to put something in there that's going to come back and bite us.
Yeah, I was concerned with the generality of a public building, because not every public building is necessarily a public building for gathering, but that is places where the public may come or invite to come and have, so I don't see any difference probably with that than the public library or the school or church where you're having people come and go from it and those buildings. That what we were concerned was just putting any public building, because there's certain like public works buildings, or there's the water plant. There's places that people don't necessarily come to that you may unintentionally knock out areas that you're not really having the public come to just because it's a public.
Well, and for clarity, that's, they can't go to a place but if a public building came in within that 500 feet, they still can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. If that occurred after the fact.
Yeah.
Then it would be existing non-conforming use. It would just be to prevent any of these subsequent applications coming in right now.
Other discussion, questions?
Just one.
Question, so you covered it.
Okay.
When you say public building, I'm assuming you're defining like a
Well,
meeting
I'm
building,
not,
like,
I'm specifically not saying public building. So that's why I'm trying to avoid is not saying public building. We were trying to lease so that there's a detail so that we don't argue about what the definition of public building.
so you can put one next to a town hall, your government building.
Yes, currently, but except that I believe in our situation, the post office, and probably the sheriff's station would not.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about
And
this
Yeah,
public,
yes. if-
I'm not actually talking about this town hall, any town hall, government building. It can go next to a government building.
Unless it's one of these prohibited ones, unless we want to add detail within, yeah.
Okay, that's all I had.
Could we add town hall? Would that fall underneath that because it's a public meeting
Yeah, I
space?
think town hall would.
Okay.
uh,
I know we have a first and a second already, but I would like to add town hall to that. If that,
Be better.
We'll just have a friendly amendment to that.
I'm just saying, would it be better?
Be better. Because I mean, we're starting to kind of like spot. I'm trying to make sure, should we say town buildings or local government buildings? Or is it just better to say town? That's what
It's
I'm,
better to say town.
It's better.
There's some buildings that the public doesn't go to.
okay. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure this doesn't.
I was thinking you've got the sewer plant, you've got the water plant, you've got public work, you've got other public buildings that are in Bay, the buildings on where the park is already excluded, but there's public buildings throughout the town that probably.
Well, that's why I specifically said town hall, because that is your meeting place. I mean, it's advertised as a meeting place.
Yeah, just friendly.
Other questions or comments on the amendment? So Jeremy, do I have to do a voice vote on this one?
Voice on this, it's not in the agenda.
Okay, so we are voting on the amendment only for the motion for public, or what's defined, what staff has defined as the buildings, or we're not calling it public buildings, so we're calling it, we're calling it public buildings. What staff has defined and what we just discussed, we're voting on that amendment only. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? That item passes, so we're back on the main motion with that amendment. And I think Mr. Biggs was requesting a motion, but.
Yeah, I'd like to, make a request an amendment to change the 1,500 feet from an existing liquor store to 2,500 feet.
I've got a motion by Mr. Biggs. Do I have a second for that to amend the main motion? Second by Mr. Harmon. We're on discussion for the motion to go from 1,500 to 2,500 feet. I totally get what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I also, like, I think we talked about this last time, the 2,500 feet, it could be 2,600 feet. I mean, I get it. That's what, and then I think that kind of creates, to me personally, I know staff's put a lot of work into this and I know everybody's got their different opinions, but I'm not saying everybody else can talk, but I think we could keep throwing numbers out and keep going farther and keep finding something else. And that's why it's taken us 16 months to get to this point. So that's the only thing with me is I don't think 2,500 still completely rectifies your
It's better.
concern.
It doesn't completely rectify it, but I think it is better. I mean, the 1,500 feet would be east of AutoZone. So that's like liquor store, go down, your next liquor store. So to me, at least 2,500 feet puts it a little bit further away so that it's not, and it's probably not going to be an issue anyways because, but just to be safe, I'm more comfortable with 2,500 feet.
And where does the 2,500 feet take us to about, do we know? I mean, I know it's a circle. So I mean, that circle can jump over to almost where we are. You can jump.
Miss Angela had emailed you all a map
Yeah.
from the current
I'm trying
liquor
to
store
remember.
that showed you the circles, for 1,500 feet and 2,500 feet.
I can't remember where that stuff, you remember was it like right up to the corner
It-
hairline, basically?
Yeah. there's a little bit of the strip center, which you're talking about freestanding anyway, but there's a little bit of the strip center that's outside of it. But it would take the properties like next to AutoZone, those out parcels, it would incorporate all those into 25 feet.
But it would,
2,500.
Also showed you the residential areas
Mhm.
that would, knock a liquor store out of that
Right.
circle.
But it wouldn't take out the Kroger parking lot if they wanted to sublot it out front and put an out parcel.
or the other side of the med,
It gets
whatever.
you like right towards AutoZone.
So, yeah, that's,
Not used to-
I think the market will drive it. We're talking about putting in
Hey,
multiple liquor stores, yeah. But with one additional liquor store, I believe the market will drive the location of it myself.
I was in
That's just my
favor,
opinion.
I was in favor of a mile, I'll be honest with you. But I brought that up to Gerald, and Gerald, would you mind explaining what you had told me on why 1,500 foot was why we got to that point?
From the previous, because it matched up with what so the 1,500 feet matches up with Memphis and Shelby County does. Several of the other jurisdictions don't actually have any. When we had a discussion to change it, I told him my bigger concern was not with the 2,500 feet or 1,500 feet located from this location, but if and when you ever change to a third location, if this is likely to end up probably more in the center of town, and if you took 1,500, 2,500 feet at that time, now you have that board, if so chooses to add a third one in the future, could always change that, but that would be the concern, is that 2,500 feet or 1,500 feet from more likely the new location would knock out probably the better part of the rest of the towns. Yeah.
And you had also mentioned that 1,500 foot was something that had not been challenged and lost.
Yeah, that is true. That's the 2,500 feet. Arguably, if this board decides that that's what they want to go with, I think we'll defend it and go through, but we stuck with 1,500 because that's what has worked for Memphis and Shelby County. So,
Oh, on the record, I don't look up to Memphis and Shelby County.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a model of what we should be doing. So
yeah.
no, I get it, but again, sometimes it's defensible and what makes things a little, so, I mean, like I said, I get it. I was almost in favor of the mile and the 2,500, but right now, I'm just saying, for me, I'm more on just trying to keep it as defensible as possible. And I'm hoping it's not even going to be an issue, but you never know what issues may arise. And that's why every question I'm asking tonight is like, is that something you feel comfortable with as attorney to basically make sure that we're there? So any other discussion or questions on the amendment?
Yeah, let me just, on the 1,525, it cannot go down past, you got your B3 that way. You got across the street, we have where the flood level is on that side. So and I don't believe it will go over towards where the pet hospital is.
Yeah, no, you could have it. You could have it over off Lamb, any of that commercial corridor over there. You could
24.
have it pretty well on the other side of Airline. That's all commercial between 385.
Either one.
Either one.
You
And then
could
we
have
have a
that.
pocket of commercial at Milton Wilson and Airline. That's.
So actually, you're mainly talking about one direction right now.
Yeah.
A direction and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
So just clarification, Gerald, what you're saying is currently that the way that it's conditional use in the zoning that's allowing it, it really couldn't go down 70 unless it's on the other side of 70?
So if you.
I'm saying east of Airline Road.
East of Airline Road, are you saying with the 1,500 currently? Yeah, wherever that 1,500 feet, and I think it is around the auto zone. I can't find the map in front of me, but I believe Alderman Biggs is correct. It's around the auto zone. So that gap between the auto zone and Airline, east of Airline would be available. And I believe it's far enough down that the property, now, the property at Milton Wilson 70, I mean, they're going to
Very
turf on
close.
it. Like, I don't envision it, but it is commercial. I don't want to point that out. That is, I believe, B2 commercial. So
Yeah.
that possibly could be the other.
Yeah, I know somebody mentioned Kroger subdividing, but that means they'd have to come back to us and ask for an out parcel
Yeah, yeah.
allowance subdivision. I
Yes,
don't-
yeah. Kroger would have to.
I don't see this board.
Kroger would have
approving
to
that.
do that, but there's property available on the west side of Airline and and obviously there's the large tract on the north side. That would have to be subdivided.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that I understood what you were saying,
Yeah.
that the property that's available anyways is pretty limited on what they could build on
Yes.
currently, even at the 1,500.
Yes,
foot.
yeah. They're pretty much large tracts, yeah, so.
All right, any other discussion or comments? So a vote of yes would be to change it to 2,500. A vote of no would be to keep it at 1,500. All in favor, say aye. Is that Mr. Biggs and Mr. Harmon? And opposed? Nay. So that would be, I think it's 5-2, I guess. So that motion to amend failed. We're back on the main motion. And discussion, I mean, who hasn't had a chance to talk that maybe wants to talk, or? I know we've, I hate to use the expression, beat this horse for a while. Yeah. We have, so.
I'm sorry, I'll talk.
No, it's okay. I mean, we're trying to get it right. So any other discussion before somebody, you pointed at somebody?
See a green light. Oh, I touched the. Okay.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
We'll turn it. Any other discussion? So real quick, before we get off this, so the process from here, if this passes, Mrs. Owens, what happens next?
If it passes, as is with the lottery included in there, then we will have to publish 3 days consecutively the dates that the application period will be open. We will accept applications during that period. Then the town has to vet all the applicants and background checks and everything. And then we would have a public lottery drawing at the board meeting. Where we would take everyone that's qualified, applicants that's met all the requirements. We would show everybody their names, put them in a hat or whatever we chose to put them in that day, draw it out, and you would draw all of the names that are in there so that you have everybody listed. So you have a reserve list, in case whoever's the first one doesn't meet their qualifications to apply to the state, or something happens with the property, things like that. So we would publish, once this is approved on second and final reading, we would publish those dates. If it's approved tonight, our idea would be that you publish it as soon as possible, just to give everybody the notice of that. We originally talked to staff as that being the month of April. Then you would have some time after that to vet it. I know your CUP language is coming back for the board in April and May, which would align with that CUP language for your freestanding, and then possibly June, you would have your lottery.
So
Your June board
the
meeting.
application process would take place, even though the CUP process is still going on. And we couldn't issue anything, even though the timeline maybe was March 15th, March 15th through January, or through April 5th, or whatever the days are. But there still wouldn't be a lottery until June.
Possibly. So that's worst case in our mind, is you have a June. If you had it published and you had everything back and you could do a May, what would happen is you'd have your second and final reading with your public hearing for the CUP first as old business. Your lottery would happen on the same agenda as new business.
Okay.
So you could have it in May at the earliest, but June at the latest is what staff's goal is.
Okay. Does everybody understand that before we vote on it?
One other question, when
Okay.
you think, to make sure it's understandable, you do have to have an address or a letter of intent, is that correct?
Yep.
Contract, complete contract, not a letter. And
You can own the property, you can have a land lease on the property, you can have a contract on the property. You have to be what's called an equitable owner of the property. We're not allowing anybody just to submit what they on somebody else's property. They have to have a basis that they have a legal interest in that property. But they don't have to own it yet. A contract is an equitable interest, a land lease is an equitable interest, or outright owning the property. So.
Yeah, and I did listen to a couple of questions and it made me want to ask the question, how long can you, before you close on the property, do you have a?
That's not a restriction that I would recommend we put in.
We
That's
could vote
between,
in
that's
that?
between the applicant. We have timelines that they have to set up and meet. They're a little bit longer than the gentleman suggested. I believe we allow 120 or 180 days.
Right. I just wanted you to say that answer.
Yes, yeah. Well, we understand that issues come up and like, so somebody's got to submit to the state. They've got to come back. That again, as I explained, we're going to have in front of the planning commission, CUP updates, for CUP suggestions for this. And so anybody still coming back, even after they get their state application, will have to come back to the city, submit a site plan and go to the Board of Zoning Appeals, go to DRC. I mean, so there's still a 6 to 8 month process that they've got to go through once they already get their state license and come back to us, that any other developer would have to go through.
Thank
Remind me what the timeline was. Once the lottery takes place and somebody's first, what is the timeline? How many days does that person have before they lose their right?
I've got to check that. It's either 180 or 120.
It's 180 calendar days.
180.
Yeah, it's in section.
To start,
That's what I
what's the
looked at.
first step they have to do to meet that 180 days?
Submit to the state.
Submit to the
Okay.
state, yeah. And the state will not accept their application without the certificate of compliance. So someone couldn't go today and apply with the state if the city hasn't given them that letter.
But if they have not, within 180 days is plenty of time for them to put their information together, get back to the state and go through. If they have not, then we will go to the number 2 on the list as we pulled out. If we get into the point that someone actually has issued a license and then does not proceed and progress with the other timeline of having it built out, then that's been such a long time period generally after this, is that there would just be a new application process to start the lottery and everything back over.
Oh, wait a second. So I thought we were taking everybody's name out so that we had a list in order.
We are for the application to the state, but if anybody gets into the state and then just never builds a bit, assuming they get their application from the state, they bring plans to the city, but they just never build a building, we have an overall 3-year limit. As like that, if they have not begun construction within 3 years, so that somebody just doesn't hold the permit and perpetuity and never develop.
So is that our only option? We could not go back to the original lottery? Do we have to start the whole process?
I think the concern would be, from staff's point of view, is that would be so long at that point, the odds that those people still have a contract on the piece of property, are they still involved? Do they still want to be? It's just easier to have a new application and due process.
I think someone asked, but your application period is 20 days too. So we would publish and then they'd have 20 days to submit an application to us.
I think I was asking that because I've been wanting to wrap this thing up because I'm getting sick of talking about it. So,
Yeah.
if it passed tonight, that we just move forward with it and don't delay it month, 2 months, 3 months. So if it's, I was give it an end date, whether the end date was April 15th and back off 20 days, whether it's April 10th, back off 20, just, whatever it takes, basically the time it takes you all to do it, because we know there's people here watching. There's probably people elsewhere watching. Those that are interested are going to be interested, and those that aren't. I don't want to create a zoo of people that are interested. So, that my preference would be sooner rather than later. If everybody's okay with that. And let staff come up with those dates. So, okay. All right, before we vote, anything else? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Oh, I'm sorry, a vote on your screen. I'm gonna do it on this one because this is taking 16 months. Aye, 7 ayes. That item passes.
There you go.
Any other old business, Mrs. Owens? On to new business. We have first reading of ordinance 2026-03 to further amend the town of Arlington budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. Mrs. Owens.
Okay, start over. This is the first reading of your second set of budget amendments. There is a typo on the ordinance. It still says first set, so we will fix that, but it is actually your second set. It is a general cleanup of line items, but it also accounts for some additional revenue that has come in. You did just get your reimbursement from insurance for the safe room roof that we paid for last June. It just came in this month, so it's about an 8-month period. So that's the bulk of the revenue that you've had come in, and staff does recommend approval.
You've heard the recommendation by Mrs. Owens. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Hartman, second by Mr. Brooks. Any discussion? Seeing none. Everybody get your screens. We have seven ayes. That item passes. Next up, item B, 2026-06, instituting a 12-month moratorium on all new vape stores and associated sales of vape paraphernalia, including electronic cigarettes, vaping devices, e-liquids, and other similarly related vape accessories. Mr. Lawson.
As I referred to it earlier in the meeting, this is a proposed moratorium for vape stores, for lack of a better term, that sell electronic cigarettes, but also sell other type of paraphernalia, some of which is now being regulated by the state, and they're having to come through. Those existing stores that are selling it are allowed to continue selling if they get a permit with the state within a certain amount of time. We worked on a similar moratorium and changed ordinance just recently in the last 12 months in Millington. And the mayor had asked me, I believe Lakeland had taken last year some action to limit some vape stores into their regulations where they incorporated. We've been doing that with our planned unit developments, but this would be dealing it with just in our general zoning ordinance and what other conditions we would impose. It's a little confusing because you have e-cigarettes, vapes, and everything that are sold at Kroger. There's other convenience stores. So what we're specifically trying to do is deal with stores that are this is the primary sale and how are they regulated, as opposed to nailing down what is sold in each individual store or what's done multiple times. So that is the purpose. It is a health and safety regulation. There's a study that's been done that's referenced in the resolution that I can forward you about the health safety dangers to teens and adolescents with vaping and in the community. I would recommend if this is an action that you want to study further, that we probably go ahead and put a moratorium on, work on this. I can get you some of the language that we've done in Millington or some of the language that Lakeland had proposed, or if we have some other further action, which I think also is dealing with how the state's regulating these other synthetic cannabis. So if you have any questions, my staff recommends approval. This is a 12-month one.
12-month, okay, 12-month. You've heard the recommendation by Mr. Lawson. Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Mr. Biggs. I will say in some of the discussions just last night in Nashville with some other nearby communities, when it was in reference to liquor stores not having a number, set numbers. Some of these communities don't have them, and they don't, same as vape stores. And they were asking the same question last night, like, how do we prevent that from when we've got a town of 9,000 people and we've got 3 liquor stores and 4 vape stores already, so I think it's a smart move. I know we've talked about it before. I think we talked about it at the same time when we talked about liquor last year at the retreat. So questions or concerns or comments?
Yeah. The 12 months, it can be extended or reduced.
It can't be. It can't be. If we happen to something, and we had done a few 6-month that we extended, so I propose this at 12 months but if we get it done in between, it would obviously go away and the new ordinance would be in effect. Or if we find that we need to extend the time, but it can't just be done in perpetuity.
Yeah. The only thing I would ask was if we see that it needs to be extended, let's don't wait till the last month to look at it.
And to your point, just because we have a deadline of 12 months doesn't mean we have to wait 12 months. So we've done that. We haven't done it too often, but I mean, I'd rather end things more abruptly than let them linger.
And for clarification purposes, Mr. Anderson, is like, we don't have any pending applications or anybody looking to do this. This is just trying to take care.
We've done this on other types of business, gas stations and other types of
Gas
businesses.
stations, hotels.
Yeah, hotels.
As we were trying to research and come up with what be appropriate.
Look, well, we didn't have a moratorium, but yeah, we just had a limit of. Any other questions or comments?
You will have to vote because we forgot to add it electronically. I'm sorry.
So I get to go old fashioned on
I'm
this.
sorry, yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed? That item passes. Any other new business or new business, Mrs. Owens? Do you have a motion to approve the bills for payment? Motion by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Harmon. Any objection to paying the bills? Seeing none. Any other announcements before we get a motion to adjourn? Did I miss something? Oh, so I'm sorry. That one we're supposed to vote on. Okay, so everybody get on your screen. I'm used to rolling through this. Everybody vote on your screen for the to pay the bills. I like the no objection thing sometimes. It just moves things faster. All right, that item passes. So any other announcements before we get a motion to adjourn? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Brooks. Second by Mr. Harmon. Do we have to vote on the computer on this one? See, this is what gets me confused. Okay. Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, we're adjourned.
I hate to be the guy. Anti-technology, but can we just go back and say it? I mean, seriously.
You're the get off my lawn guy tonight?
I mean, it's like.
Oh, gosh.